The story of C.H. Edwards/Booth's Clint H.O.F. is truly a beautiful working terrier story. C.H. Edwards/Booth's Clint H.O.F. was bred by Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards is well known for both producing great working terriers as well as giving his terriers all the work they could hope for. Most of Mr. Edwards' dogs were a wonderful blend of H.O.F. and Old Booth blood, which is a cross that really maintains a strong bully type of dog. Which makes sense as this is what the H.O.F. breeding program focused on according to H.O.F.'s website. The H.O.F. blood that has been used is a blend of Old Nuttall with a very healthy dose of Pickaxe blood, which is also known as Jones blood. Clint is directly off of H.O.F.'s Simon. Simon was owned by Mr. Edwards as was a dog that's seen more than his fair share of work. We've never heard of Simon making one wrong step as a worker. And he certainly produced some lovely terriers. Simon was off of Pickaxes/Jones Grom aka Tom. According to Jones, H.O.F. deserves credit for having a good plan for his yard and implementing it. The fact that H.O.F.'s dogs have played a role in today's terriers did not happen by chance. From our understanding, H.O.F. actually picked up 3 terriers when he obtained Grom aka Tom. The Patterdale Terrier database was used for the following breeders' names, so there we are aware of a couple mistakes on the database for Clint's as well as other terriers' pedigrees, but most of the information should be pretty accurate. Pickaxes/Jones Grom aka Tom was in turn off of the great couple Chaz and Tilly, both dogs that are well known for their working and producing abilities. Making Grom line bred on Pickaxes rags. On the Patterdale Terrier database, Grom is labeled as H.O.F.'s Grom, however this is incorrect. The proper prefix is Jones. Simon was out of the world-famous H.O.F.'s Ann Busty H.O.F. of whom is a pure Nuttall bitch off of H.O.F.'s Nero and out of H.O.F.'s Nike, making Ann Busty a double-bred H.O.F.'s Digger dog. While H.O.F.'s Nero was out of H.O.F.'s Trog, who is a double-bred Nuttall's Crunch bitch. And Nike is out of H.O.F.'s Shoko, who is a double-bred Nuttall's Minor bitch. Which is the dog that Nike was line-bred off of. Clint was out of a granddaughter of his father, a very nice female named Edwards Tory. Tory was off of Booth's Caesar, which is a son of H.O.F.'s Simon, and out of Booth's famous Guinness bitch. Meanwhile, Tory was out of SPK's Prima Donna. Prima Donna was out of Booth's favorite dog of all time, Bruiser 2. A dog that is reputed for working heavy game for extended amounts of time. And she was out of H.O.F.'s Kayla, who was a daughter of H.O.F.'s Grom. And was out of H.O.F.'s Nike. Making Kalia a half-sister to the famous Ann Busty Hall of Fame, H.O.F., bitch. And a half-sister to Clint father. All in all, making Booth's Clint a line-bred Jones Grom dog. With a pedigree that features some nice line breeding on the H.O.F.'s Digger, and Nuttall's Minor dogs, which are each featured 5 times in the first 7 generations of Clint's pedigree. And an out that features some of Booth's greatest old-school dogs. Dogs 3 times tonic with through Booth's Guinness and Booth's Bruiser 2, who was a grandson of Booth's Milio and a double-breed great-great-grandson of Booth's Tipperary Tim and Booth's Tonic. To date, champion Clint Hall of Fame has produced working offspring in several countries. And he is sure to make an impact on the breed's future. But above all, Clint was a worker to the extreme. If you know Mr. Edwards, then you know that his dogs get to see as much work as anyone's. The story is that Clint was an excellent worker for Mr. Edwards. Working both commonly dug quarry. He was dug to time and time again, always without fail. There was another kennel that obtained a lot of dogs from Mr. Edwards that goes by the name of Monster Kennels. From our understanding, Monster Kennels is known for working their dogs in ways that some might perceive as a lack of class. We will not go into detail, as we know that any negative representation of the work that these dogs do is harmful to everyone, including the dogs. Either way, after an outing that resulted in Clint locating and holding quarry still until he was dug to, as he has done time and time again. One way or another, Monster Kennels irresponsibly let one of their young charges off their tie out, causing their dog to grab Clint by the back leg while Clint was working his quarry. Which resulted in Clint taking considerably more damage than you would want a loved and valued dog to take. Due to this, Mr. Edwards opted to retire Clint to stud. Clint was then hand-selected by Mr. Booth as his main stud dog to bring out the best in his old blood, being Clint carries some of that blood. Booth also continued to work Clint occasionally but mostly used him as a stud. This is how Clint ended up proving to be a producer of top-class workers. After a few years, Booth fell ill, making it difficult to care for, much less work his terriers. This was when we jumped on the opportunity. As we did with Weaver, J&J, CR, CE, and anyone else we've obtained dogs from. We paid Booth what he wanted for the dog and we moved on with our goals. We are not ones to cry about money. No, we are the kind of men that make money. We provide well for our family and get to experience all the great things in life as well as the lows of life. And we love it all. Let us say after working Clint and watching with our own two eyes, we are more than, and I do mean more than happy with our purchase. One thing we feel we have witnessed is the fact that Booth is worthy of being considered a great breeder. As he is not only kennel blind, he is willing to use a great dog to continue to produce top terriers even if the dog was bred by a man that he is not a fan of. This ability to see past the emotion of dislike or even hate to the genetics of what is sitting in front of them is a trait that many breeders lack. So hats off to Mr. Booth for that, and hats off to Mr. Jones for producing his own line of great workers. As with any terrier that is well known and or any terrier that has been given a H.O.F. or Ch. Abel, Clint has his haters. However, not one of these haters has ever seen Clint work in person. And that is exactly what Mr. Edwards and Mr. Booth have said to the naysayers. Outside of these two men and a handful of others, not many have seen Clint work. Rather, more people have seen his offspring work. One thing we do not do is lie about dogs. While we love dogs, let us remind you, dogs carry fleas and worms. There is no reason to lie about them. If you are one of those who are not big fans of labels such as CH and or H.O.F. for working terriers, let us say we understand and agree in many ways. But being that such labels exists and judging him by his peers, other dogs that carry those labels, Clint is a terrier that is deserving and has earned his right to those labels. He has worked just about every kind of game that is available to diggers on both sides of the pond. He has also produced workers that continue to prove themselves in several different countries. While we are not super keen on the titles ourselves, we don't hate on dogs that have those titles. In our eyes they are either good, mediocre or bad. The title means nothing. But we see no reason to hate on a dog with a title. That is, unless we have seen with our own two eyes that the dog is not deserving, or we know for a fact that the dog comes from a line or source that is not deserving of any recognition. Most of the people that hate on the titles are jealous individuals. Individuals that either never produced a Hall of Fame dog or owned a Hall of Fame dog. It's simple to see that no one that produced one of these dogs hates on other dogs due to a title. The same can be said for people who own Hall of Fame dogs. We are in the dogs for their working abilities. Nothing else matters to us. No H.O.F. or CH title makes any difference to us. Either way, until next time guys, it's 3XO baby.